Coming up on this episode of Design to the Nines, I'm going to show you how I took this very vanilla, very boring bedroom from this to this. If you want to see how I did it, then stay tuned. Have you ever seen a more boring and vanilla room in your life? If you have, hit me up on Instagram. I'd like to see that picture because it doesn't get much more plain than this. We've got buttercream walls, white furniture that's got no interest going on, and we are going to change that today. We are going to be painting the walls a dramatic color. I've got an awesome wallpaper mural that we're going to install on this wall that's going to really pack a punch. And this is going to be part one in a series of an extreme makeover on this bedroom. I'm really excited about it. My channel is called Designed to the Nines, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this bedroom. So let's go get on our paint clothes and get started. So one thing that I always do when I go to the home improvement store is I always check the oops paint section. Now oops paint is just like accident paint. It's mistints for other customers, and I always like to check it over to make sure that there's not something that I wouldn't use. I always buy whites, I always buy blacks. But this time I picked up this really pretty olive green color. Now, I was taking a little bit of a chance on this color, but I thought it was really pretty, and so I decided to go ahead and buy it, you know, and at $9 for the gallon, it was a great price, so I thought it was worth the risk. Don't buy an oops paint just because you either want to buy those blacks and whites or buy a color that you really, really like and think that there's a good chance that you could use. And I knew that that was the case with this bucket of paint. Now, at the time I bought it, I had not selected my wallpaper mural, and I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of it now. But there were all these different various shades of green in it. It actually matches our wallpaper mural perfectly. So we're going to put this nice dramatic olive green on the walls before we hang our mural, because we definitely want to kind of cut into the corner a little bit so that you don't see any weird edges or get paint on the wallpaper mural. So we're going to start with that. Now, I've already done a full tutorial on how I go about painting a wall. I really don't like to use painter's tape if I can avoid it. I go about painting my rooms with just a paintbrush and a roller for the most part. Every once in a while, if there's a tricky area, then I'll break out a little bit of painter's tape, but for the most part I tried to avoid it because I just have found it that it's not very reliable, but it does still serve a purpose, so I do have it on hand. We're just going to start by removing all of the outlet covers, making sure our paint's thoroughly mixed because it has been sitting a while, so we'll mix it up, and then we will just start painting the three walls, and then behind me we will leave that unpainted because that's where my awesome wallpaper mural is going to come into play. So our wall paint is dried, and now I get to do what this was all about. We are going to be applying a wall mural that I am so excited about. It is so pretty. It's called the Hummingbird Garden. Now, I have hung wallpaper a lot in past properties that I've owned, but it's all been pre-pasted. So this is going to be my first time A, doing a wall mural, and B, doing it with paste that I have to put on the walls. So the first thing you want to do is start out with a clean and dry wall, and so I've already taken care of that. We're actually going to start the wall mural on this corner because it's the first thing you see coming in will be this corner, and unlike wallpaper, which you might want to start in the center, we're going to be starting on the side so we can make sure we get the wall mural all up. Now, the dimensions of this are not going to fit my wall. My ceilings are taller than this is, and it's also wider. So I ordered two, even though it technically says it's not a pattern repeat. I kind of looked at it and I read some other reviews, and people were able to get a pattern repeat out of it. And so I'm going to go ahead and proceed. I had to buy two rolls, and really I'm only going to use like one or two of the panels and there's a big window in it, so you're really not going to be able to tell. Plus I'll have curtains up and things like that. Now as for the height, I'm going to start it at the top and then we're going to end up being a little short. I'm going to show you in a minute how I'm going to fix that so it doesn't look like I just ran out of wallpaper at the bottom. So let's get hanging this. I'm just going to take this wallpaper roll and shove it against the wall. We're going to make a little mark here. Make sure that it's level. And now it's time to get some wallpaper paste on the wall. My plan is just to roll it on and then stick the wallpaper on, so this will be interesting. And I'm hoping that this is actually kind of better because then not everything is so wet. So we'll see. On the instructions, it says to use a thin layer of wallpaper paste. This wallpaper is a little bit heavier, so I definitely would say I'd put on a nice thick layer of wallpaper paste. If there's excess, it will kind of squeeze out the sides and you can just remove it. But using too little won't make it stick very well. And so I would just say use a little bit more and that would be better. But you will kind of get a feel for it as you go. Now I used a combination of the wallpaper smoothing tool in my hand. And I also like to have a damp cloth on hand just to get any glue that might get on the front of the wallpaper off. Personally, I really like to use my hand to smooth out the wallpaper and kind of push out some of those bubbles from underneath the wallpaper. Not too much pressure, but just a little bit. I'm a very tactile person, so I just feel like I can feel things a little bit better and smooth them out a little bit better this way. But it's nice to have the other tool on hand as well. I kind of like to alternate kind of back and forth. The wallpaper mural is nice because of all the sections are cut out to match up nicely, so there's no trying to figure out where the pattern repeat is. And so when you're laying it on the wall, all you need to do is make sure that they match up and that they're pushed together tightly. It is pretty easy to leave a small gap, so you really want to be careful about that. Keep repeating this process as you go along, only doing enough glue for each panel, maybe a little bit of overlap for the seam. You're going to want to use the smoothing tool and the straight edge blade to make any necessary cuts. And it's really not that hard to do at all. You just want to be careful and take your time. Okay, I am obsessed with this. I love it so much. Now I have broken a little bit of a sweat just going up and down the ladder, and it's a little warm today, and I'm trying not to run the fan so our glue doesn't like dry out before we have a chance to get the wallpaper up, so I'm looking pretty good. Now we've run out with the original mural, and so we are going to break out our second roll. I had to buy a second roll literally for that little tiny section there, but I still feel like the cost was worth it. It's not meant for a pattern repeat, so to speak, so they say, but I think that this will work out just fine. Now I got lucky because I had a window on my seam, so that actually worked to my advantage because there was very little that needed to actually be matched up, just a little bit above the window and below the window. Now I can tell you it was not perfect, but it's very close, and unless you're really looking for it, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell at all. I ended up needing to add 2 more panels plus 4 inches of the third panel. All right, so we've got our mural on, but as you can see, it's too short. Now, normally on a regular wall, I probably wouldn't have done this, but on this wall, we've got a king-size bed. We're gonna have some bigger nightstands. We're gonna have drapes. So you're really not gonna notice this bottom half because it's gonna be mostly covered. There will be only a couple of areas that aren't covered. So my solution for this is I got a little piece of trim here, and it's a pretty small little piece of trim. And we are just going to to install this and then paint everything below it white. Now, if it was gonna be exposed, I'd probably take the time to smooth out the wall and get the texture off so it looks a little bit more like trim. But again, it's not gonna be seen, so I can't rationalize going to all of that extra effort. So all we're gonna do is install this trim, paint it out, and then we're gonna be done and you'll get to see how it turned out. I'm holding it up, and because this is so thin, I'm not gonna need a saw or anything. I'm just gonna use some clippers here and clip it to the size. And so I've got my mark right here, and we are just going to cut through. It's a little snug, but there we go. This trim is so lightweight, it really doesn't need much to hold it up. So I just took an electric staple gun that I could put tiny little brad nails into and just popped those into the trim. Then I filled in the nail holes and got a small paintbrush because I wanted to be very careful near the wallpaper, and a foam roller, and filled everything in between. I plan on getting larger nightstands, and I'm considering curtains, so honestly you may not see any of this by the time I'm done, but just in case, I wanted to finish everything off anyways. I'm so thrilled with how this bedroom turned out. In fact, I said to my husband, I think we're moving our master bedroom downstairs now. My wallpaper mural ended up costing around $150, including all of the extra supplies. But for the added impact in the room, I really think that that is a good deal, especially considering that there is probably no need for any kind of art or focal point over the bed because you just really don't need it. I've got plans for the headboard, nightstands, dresser, bedding, you name it. It's not done yet. This is just phase one, and I am loving it so far. I'm thinking all white bedding with a little pop of color in the accent pillows, but you'll have to let me know what you think. Let me know in the comment section below. I really hope that when people visit our home, they feel like they are in a fun resort and that they feel rested and relaxed. It probably won't be for a few weeks, so stay tuned for more episodes. There might be DIYs that we do in here, and then we'll reveal the final result, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe below so you don't miss any of the episodes that are related to this. If you enjoyed this episode, here's another one that I think you'll like as well. And until next time, to all of my DIY Niners, bye.